Oh, come on, we're in a house of God. First,
read the room, Big Tish. Nobody wants you here. It's a house of God. That means you definitely don't belong. MAGA voice says, holy shit. Here's Letitia James getting booed while standing on this obviously more than likely reinforced stage to support the added weight and load. Getting booed while speaking, and firefighters are all chanting. Let me know if you guys can hear it. Let me know if you can hear what they're chanting. I love this so much. MAGA voice says, throw Letitia James in prison for mortgage fraud. Nobody likes Letitia James. Hey guys, do me a favor. Help this video go viral. All in support of everyone chanting and booing Letitia James, Big Tish, before she goes and gets arrested or indicted or deposed or thrown in jail. Help me do that, okay? Please. I'd appreciate it.
oh, come on, we're in a house of God. First, simmer down. I want to thank Commissioner Kavanaugh and Chief Hodgins for that recognition.
I wanted to split off and do my own work through Pivotal Ventures because I thought there were things I wanted to do in the United States that would be easier to do really under my own organization. And one of the things that spurred me on was thinking about the fact that my two granddaughters, who are ages 2 and 5 months, they don't have as many rights right now as I did growing up. And that just doesn't make any sense to me.
What doesn't make any sense to me is how Melinda Gates can sit here and say such a ridiculous and asinine statement, but actually, let's be real, it does make sense because she's doing it on CNN, the same network that had to specifically, after getting completely roasted, bodied by President Trump in the Oval Office in front of all to hear and see.
You would abide by that. You said that on Air Force One just a few days ago. And
how
they said
long do we have to answer this question? Why don't you just say, isn't it wonderful that we're keeping criminals out of our country? Why can't you just say that?
Well, it's illegal.
Why do you go over and over? And that's why nobody watches you anymore. You have no credibility.
And look, I don't mean to get distracted here, but is it just me, or does it look like Pam Bondi's dressed up like she's about to be on the remake of that 70s show?
Can President Bukele weigh in on this? Do you plan to return him?
Well, I'm supposed to not suggesting that I'll smuggle a terrorist into the United States, right?
It's always
how can I smuggle? How can I return him to the United States? Like, I smuggle him into the United States, or what do I do? Of course, I'm not going to do it. It's like, I mean, the question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? I don't have the power to return him to the United States.
So you could release him inside of Salvador.
Yeah, but I'm not releasing. I mean, we're not very fond of releasing terrorists into our country. I mean, we just turned the murder capital of the world into the safest country of the Western Hemisphere, and you want us to go back into the releasing criminals so we can go back to being the murder capital of the world? No, that's not going to happen.
Well, they'd love to have a criminal, released into our
country. I mean, there's a fascination.
They would love it.
Yeah,
they're sick. These are sick people.
Oh yeah. So you sent me a message that Rapid Response 47, which is President Trump's X account for something. I don't know what it's for, but it's through the White House, whatever. They posted this thing that Attorney General Pam Bondi said. She said, I'm sick of the liberal media saying that he is a Maryland man. He's not a Maryland man. He's a guy from El Salvador who was part of one of the most violent gangs in our country. And I was like, yeah, I have that. I knew that. But what people aren't talking about, weirdly, is the fact that this Maryland man, who's really an El Salvadorian gang member man, his wife has somehow gotten $162,000 from a GoFundMe. I don't know if she set it up or who set it up, but $162,000 in a GoFundMe for her. And she's out there on, platforms talking about how she misses her husband. He's such a great father. He's such a great husband. He's such a great this and that. But she continuously forgets to tell people that she also has a restraining order against him because he beat her ass. So where's the greatness there?
Marco, do you have something to say about
Yeah, I mean, Stephen outlined it. I don't understand what the confusion is. This individual is a citizen of El Salvador. He was illegally in the United States and was returned to his country. That's where you deport people, back to their country of origin. except for Venezuela that wasn't refusing to take people back, or places like that. I can tell you this, Mr. President, no, the foreign policy of the United States is conducted by the President of the United States, not by a court. And no court in the United States has a right to conduct the foreign policy of the United States. It's that simple. End of story.
And that's what the Supreme Court held, by the way, to Marco's point. The Supreme Court said exactly what Marco said, that no court has the authority to compel the foreign policy function of the United States. We won a case 9-0, and people like CNN are portraying it as a loss, as usual, because they want foreign terrorists in the country who kidnap women and children. But President Trump, his policy is foreign terrorists that are here illegally get expelled from the country, which, by the way, is a 90-10 issue.
Caitlin Collins humiliated in public. And I don't know if you guys saw that one as I put it on the screen while Marco Rubio was talking. This one asks, with 2 question marks, are you retarded? Kilmar is a illegal alien who got married and had a kid to try and delay or stop his final deportation order. He's a scumbag. Here's the proof he was ordered to be deported in 2019.
You're very proudly Jewish and have been criticized for your coverage. Mm-hmm. How do you keep that kind of targeted criticism and the hateful attacks from affecting how you approach your role as a journalist?
I keep the blinders on and do what I feel that I need to do and want to do as an objective journalist. The one thing I will say to that is that I don't believe that my coverage or Jake Tapper's coverage, for example, is any different than what many of our colleagues are. Mm-hmm. The way that our colleagues approach it is not that different. Not different at all. There's one difference. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're Jewish. Mm-hmm. And I'll let everybody sort of sit on that for a second.
Dana Bash then looking like a complete fool on The View, then having to go on CNN and tell America, oh yeah, by the way, guys, we don't hate you.
Like CNN over here doesn't want to put them out because they don't like putting out good numbers. They only like putting out because I think they hate our country, actually.
Before I get to you, I just want to say, for the record, since we heard President Trump say in the Oval Office that CNN hates our country, CNN does not hate our country. That should go without saying. I've been here for 32 years, and I see a rhetorical device in him trying to say such a thing.
When in fact, I'd have to say you do hate America. And here's proof.
We want to make sure that if you open women's sports or intimate facilities to males, you expose yourself to federal civil rights investigations. Governor Mills will definitely get her wish.
Today, the Department of Justice is announcing a civil lawsuit against the Maine Department of Education. The state of Maine is discriminating against women by failing to protect women in women's sports. Pretty basic stuff. This is a violation of Title IX. The Department of Justice will not sit by when women are discriminated against in sports. This is about sports. This is also about these young women's personal safety. I've met many of these women throughout the past weeks and months, and what they have been through is horrific. We have exhausted every other remedy. We tried to get Maine to comply. We don't like standing up here and filing lawsuits. We want to get states to comply with us. That's what this is about. We have repeatedly notified Maine of its infractions and urged them to remedy the situation to protect women. We've stripped grants from Maine through other departments, and we are going to continue to fight for women.
Now, guys, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I will repeat this 25-second clip from the beginning of the video that I think brings this conversation full circle from the perspective of some of these elitists, these bureaucrats, these mainstream media legacy networks, these leftist Democrats, these folks who want to tell you one thing, but actually their actions show, again, actions speak louder than words, a completely different story as their scheme, their plot, their scam objective, their agenda is clear. It could be hating women. It could be hating men. It could be hating President Trump. But at the end of the day, everything they're doing points to one definitive, unquestionable, without a shadow of a doubt answer of they hate America.
I wanted to split off and do my own work through Pivotal Ventures because I thought there were things I wanted to do in the United States that would be easier to do really under my own organization. And one of the things that spurred me on was thinking about the fact that my two granddaughters, who are ages 2 and 5 months, they don't have as many rights right now as I did growing up. And that just doesn't make any sense to me.